The night before my wedding, I made a mistake so reckless it felt like a dream, until my new husband found out. It happened on our honeymoon, of all places. A private overwater bungalow in the Maldives, the kind of place people spend years saving for. I should have been drinking champagne in the infinity pool, watching the sunset with my husband's arms around me. Instead, I was locked in the bathroom, mascara smudged, hands shaking, while Fred sat in silence outside, holding my phone, staring at the message I never meant for him to see. It all started 2 years ago when I met Fred at a charity gala my company forced me to attend. Back then, I was working in corporate, handling client accounts, which really meant running around doing everyone's busy work while pretending I had an actual title. And then there was Fred, tall, self-assured, powerful in a way that made every other man in the room seem insignificant. At 42, he wasn't conventionally handsome, but he had that silver fox confidence, the kind that made people listen when he spoke. He wore a watch that probably cost more than my entire salary, and he carried himself like a man who never had to check price tags. At the time, I was fresh out of a long, chaotic relationship with Michael, the kind of love that burns too hot, full of passion and fights and tears and breakups that never quite stuck. We had been on and off since college, drawn to each other like magnets, even when we knew we were bad for each other. With Michael, everything was messy, unpredictable. With Fred, things were clear, stable, easy. By our third date, he was already showering me with gifts, diamond earrings more expensive than my rent, weekends at 5-star resorts. The age gap was strange at first. My dad cracked awkward jokes about Fred being closer to his age than mine, and my sister asked, point blank, if I was in it for the money. But I got used to it. I liked being taken care of. I liked feeling adored. When Fred proposed a year later, I said yes without hesitation. The ring was huge, exactly the one I had casually admired in a shop window months earlier. Unlike Michael, who gave me impulsive gifts that were really for himself, Fred listened. He planned. He made sure I had everything I wanted before I even asked. But then the wedding planning started, and something shifted. I began dreaming about Michael. I hadn't thought about him in so long, hadn't even looked at his social media since blocking him after our last brutal breakup. But one night, after Fred fell asleep, I unblocked him. Just to see. I told my best friend Amy over brunch. It's just pre-wedding jitters, she said. Everyone gets them. Yeah, but I'm not calling anything off, I replied quickly. Fred is amazing. He's planning an insane honeymoon in the Maldives. We're looking at houses in a gated community. Amy raised an eyebrow. Is that what you want, though? Of course, I snapped. You think I want to go back to broke guys who forget my birthday? Who cheat on me? I told myself I was happy. Mostly. I liked the lifestyle Fred gave me, the ease of it, the security. I liked posting photos from expensive restaurants and luxury trips and watching the likes roll in. What I didn't like was listening to Fred talk endlessly about investment properties and golf and wine. God, the wine. But I had learned how to fake interest, how to nod in the right places, ask the right questions, make him feel important. Then came the prenup. Just a formality, Fred said smoothly, sliding the document across the table. My lawyer insists. I skimmed the pages, not understanding most of it. This seems complicated. Don't worry about it, he said, refilling my wine glass. It's standard. So I signed it. What else was I going to do? Refuse and look like a gold digger? A week before the wedding, he started talking about kids. I'm not getting any younger, he joked, hand warm on my thigh. I want to be able to throw a ball with my son before I need a hip replacement. I forced a smile. Definitely. I want that too. I didn't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But Fred's timeline was different, so I lied. Just like I lied about enjoying his friends' company, just like I lied about loving his endless collection of vintage scotch. The night of my bachelorette party, I was drunk, dancing, laughing with my cousin when I saw him. Not Michael, but someone who looked exactly like him. My heart stopped. Later, back at the hotel, sprawled across my bed, I checked Michael's Instagram again. There he was, looking stupidly good in a black t-shirt. The caption, single again. Sometimes things just don't work out. I shouldn't have cared. I was getting married in 2 weeks. But I felt something sharp and ugly twist in my stomach. Jealousy. Longing. Regret. Amy caught me staring at my phone. Stalking the ex. No, I lied. Then, quieter, I just I've been wondering if I'm making a huge mistake. Amy hesitated. Do you love Fred? Of course, I answered automatically. The way you loved Michael. I flinched. That was different. That was unhealthy. The night before the wedding, I stood on the balcony of our hotel suite, staring at the city lights. My engagement ring felt heavier than usual. In less than 24 hours, I'd be married to a man who adored me. A man who could give me everything. A man I wasn't sure I loved. I opened another bottle of champagne, my fingers shaking as I scrolled through my contacts. I never deleted Michael's number. I just buried it. Getting married tomorrow, but still love you. My thumb hovered over the send button. Inside, Fred shifted in his sleep. The man who had given me everything. The man I was betraying with every breath. I hit send. Then I panicked. I tried to unsend it, but it was too late. Those little dots appeared, he was typing. Then they disappeared. Then, nothing. The wedding passed in a blur. I kept sneaking glances at my phone. Still nothing. I said my vows on autopilot. I smiled for pictures. I danced with my new husband. I let him make love to me that night, eyes closed, thinking about mortgages and stability and the kind of life I had chosen. And then, 4 days into our honeymoon, Fred picked up my phone to take a sunset photo. Silence. When I stepped out of the bathroom, he was sitting on the bed, face ashen, my phone in his hands. Care to explain? His voice was dangerously calm. I can explain, I said automatically. Please do, he said. I'd love to hear why my wife texted her ex that she loves him the night before our wedding. And just like that, everything shattered. I never imagined I'd be the woman crying in the bathroom of a 5-star resort while my new husband sat in silence on the other side of the door. But there I was, knees drawn to my chest on the cold marble floor, mascara staining my cheeks, my phone still clutched in my shaking hand. It had all unraveled so quickly. One impulsive text, one moment of weakness, and the illusion I had so carefully crafted shattered beyond repair. It had started 2 years ago at a charity gala my company forced me to attend. I'd been drowning in a corporate job that made me feel like a glorified assistant, trapped between spreadsheets and coffee runs, when Fred walked in. He wasn't classically handsome, but at 42, he exuded a presence that made everyone else in the room seem insignificant. A tailored suit, a designer watch, an air of quiet authority. He was the kind of man who didn't just walk into a room, he owned it. At the time, I was still picking up the pieces of my relationship with Michael. Ours had been a relentless storm, passion, chaos, breakups, and makeups that left me breathless and exhausted. Michael was the kind of love that burned too hot, leaving behind nothing but smoke and ruins. And after years of chasing that high, I was ready for something different. Something steady. Something safe. Fred was that and more. He was established, generous, and worshipped me in a way that made it easy to overlook the things that didn't quite fit. He took me to restaurants where the menus had no prices, gifted me diamond earrings that cost more than my rent, and promised me a future wrapped in silk and security. The age gap raised a few eyebrows. My father's jokes about Fred being closer to his age than mine, my younger sister's blunt questions about whether I was in it for the money, but I brushed them off. I liked the way Fred made me feel, chosen, adored, provided for. When he proposed after a year, I said yes without hesitation. The ring was massive, exactly what I had casually admired months before, a testament to how well he listened. Unlike Michael, who always got me gifts that were really for himself, Fred saw what I wanted and made sure I had it. And yet, as the wedding approached, something inside me began to unravel. The dreams about Michael started first, fragmented memories of nights tangled in his sheets, of whispered apologies and heated arguments. I hadn't thought about him in ages, had even blocked him after our last disastrous breakup, but one night, while Fred slept beside me, I unblocked him just to see. It's just pre-wedding jitters, my best friend Amy reassured me over brunch. Everyone gets them. I nodded, pretending to believe her, but the doubt gnawed at me. Was this really what I wanted? Or was I just following a path that looked good on paper? The night before the wedding, after a flawless rehearsal dinner in an expensive restaurant where Fred proudly introduced me as the future Mrs. Calloway, I found myself alone on our hotel balcony, staring at the city lights. My engagement ring felt heavy on my hand, my future pressing down on me like a weight I hadn't realized I was carrying. I drank too much champagne. Opened my phone. Scrolled through my contacts until I found his name. I had never deleted Michael's number, just buried it under Do Not Answer. My fingers hovered over the keyboard before I typed the words that would destroy everything. Getting married tomorrow but still love you. I hit send before I could stop myself. The moment it left my phone, panic set in. What had I done? I tried to unsend it, but it was too late. The dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then nothing. No response. The wedding day passed in a blur of vows spoken on autopilot, forced smiles, and stolen glances at my phone. Still nothing. That night, in the honeymoon suite, I let my new husband make love to me while I closed my eyes and thought about the life I was securing, the house, the luxury car, the stability. I convinced myself I had made the right choice. For the first few days in the Maldives, I almost believed it. The resort was paradise, Fred was attentive, and we played the part of the blissfully married couple. But then, on the fourth evening, as I got ready for dinner, Fred asked to use my phone. "Mine's dead," he called from the balcony. "Just want to take a picture of the sunset." "Sure," I answered, distracted, not thinking twice. And then, silence. A silence so sharp it sliced through the air. When I stepped out of the bathroom, Fred was sitting on the edge of the bed, my phone in his hand, his face pale and unreadable. He turned the screen toward me. There it was, glowing in the dim light. "Getting married tomorrow but still love you." Seen. No response. His voice was dangerously calm. "Care to explain this?" I scrambled for words. It was just cold feet, pre-wedding jitters. It didn't mean anything. Fred's voice rose, sharp with disbelief. "Didn't mean anything? You told another man you loved him the night before vowing to love me forever." "It was a mistake." I cried. I was drunk and scared and thinking about another man, he finished for me. His next words cut deep. "Did you marry me? Or did you marry my money? My lifestyle? My security? While your heart stayed with him?" The accuracy of his words felt like a slap. After that, everything changed. Fred moved into the guest room. Installed tracking apps on my phone under the guise of rebuilding trust. Therapy sessions were scheduled, passwords were exchanged, but there was no salvaging what had already been lost. Then came the financial revelations, documents I found buried in his office, showing debts in the millions. The stability I had clung to? An illusion. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Michael finally texted back. "Sorry for the delayed response. Been going through some stuff. I think about you too. Bad timing always was our thing." A lifeline. A mistake. I fell back into old habits, texting in secret, finding stolen moments to relive a love that had never really been mine to begin with. Until the night Fred caught me. A suitcase landed on the bed. "Pack what you need," he said. "You can come back for the rest tomorrow when I'm at work." I begged. I pleaded. But he had already made up his mind. And then, Michael, my last hope, walked away too. Please stop contacting me. Just like that, I was alone. No husband. No lover. No money. And then, 2 weeks later, I took a pregnancy test. Positive. The baby was Michael's. For a fleeting moment, I considered calling Fred, pretending it was his, clawing my way back into the life I had thrown away. But even I couldn't stoop that low. So now, here I am, in a cheap apartment with nothing but my regrets and a future I never planned for. My friends have sided with Fred. My parents are disappointed. And Michael wants nothing to do with me. The irony is not lost on me. I spent years chasing passion, only to trade it for security. Then I threw away that security for the ghost of passion. Now, I have neither. Amy says this could be a turning point, a chance to finally grow up, to take responsibility, to become someone better. Maybe she's right. But all I can think about is how unfair it all feels. How I wasn't prepared for any of this. How the universe didn't do this to me. I did. Every selfish choice. Every lie. Every moment I put my desires above everything else. This is the life I built. Brick by painful brick. I just wish I had realized what I was building before the walls came crashing down around me.